Hi, and welcome everyone to the third Podim Day satellite event this year. Thank you for tuning in. I'm so happy to have you all here. I'm sure we are all excited to hear what our guests have to say about the entrepreneurial mindset of our region and our regional startup ecosystem. But before we move on to the juicy stuff, I've got a few exciting news about Podim I want to share with you. We are all here today because of the Podim Startup and Tech Conference. This is one of the warm-up events, as our team just couldn't wait for Podim to begin. However, as the conference is drawing closer, it's happening between 17th and 19th of May, we got more and more news to share. First of all, Podim startup applications closed 10 days ago, and I'm happy to say that we received more than 500 applications. This means that 150 startups will be really good ones, and it will be awesome. So we have also announced the first 25 speakers with more to come. It's fantastic to see that we got confirmation from remarkable people from companies like Accenture, Facebook, Everledger, and MIT. If you want to check out who is coming, visit Podim's speakers page. All in all, it's looking like Podim will once again deliver immense value. If you want to attend the conference, you got to get some tickets in our online shop. We got some cool special offers going on right now, so hop on. Of course, Podim wouldn't be possible without our great partners and supporters. One of them is Vienna Business Agency, and we got here Gabrielle Tatzenberger, Vienna Business Agency Startup Services Department Lead. I think she has a few things to say about another great startup event that is happening soon. Let's go over to Gabrielle. Hi, Gabrielle.
Hello, nice to meet you.
And welcome to the event. So how is the start into your year?
So under the given circumstances, due to COVID, some parts of the economy are hit very hard. But as I met so many innovative startups and company founders already this year, I'm very enthusiastic and optimistic that we will manage this crisis as well. And now also the weather is getting warmer and sunnier, so we are quite well here.
Great. Sun always helps. So you are supporting talents from the region. So what drives you? What is your energy?
It's really helping to explore and support the potential of people, and in a way that also the economy can profit out of it, but also society. So to have a sustainable city, a sustainable society, but the people and the potential of the people is really what drives me.
So empowering the people, that's great vision. And Vienna is also known as one of the best places to start a business. So Gabrielle, I think you would agree with this statement, right?
I can agree with that, yes. Maybe I can also use my slides I prepared for you in order to show you a little bit what we are doing. We try to support company founders and startups, international ones, but also Viennese ones, with real estate developments, with free of cost services, and also with grants where you can further develop your product with the grants. And the startup city Vienna is really a place with a high quality of life, with many talents, and you get very good access to public and private funding, and you have a very good opportunity also to connect internationally. So we welcome every startup that is interested to get to know Vienna or the market in Austria, DACH market. And we have also currently open many calls and competitions. So if you're interested, look at the Startup City Vienna website and you can see if there is an interesting opportunity for you here.
Fantastic. So also Vienna 20 Up is like a startup festival event coming up. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? Because I mean, we are here to hear about more, what's exciting is happening around us in the region.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for the great cooperation with Podim. So good luck also for preparing your conference. Vienna Up Week is taking place end of April till mid of May, and we call it the most authentic startup experience in Central Europe, because it's not us, the Vienna Business Agency, that is organizing this event, but it's more than 40 program partners who are doing internationally oriented events. And at the moment, we have around 100 events taking place during these 10 days in many different fields of topics. And it's really for corporates, it's for startups, it's for investors, it's for talent. So for everybody, there is something in the program. We are covering many different topics, as you can see here, with health tech, life science, social entrepreneurship, female leadership. Here, Tanya can tell us much more later on with the Limitless conference. It's a great opportunity for female leaders and young ladies. We have also a great program for creative industries. We have the whole Fintech week in the period and many more. So I really invite you, if you're interested in the program or want to connect with an international community and especially also get to know the Viennese ecosystem and where you can, connect. I think this is really a very good opportunity to connect with the right people.
Great, super excited about that. I mean, as a organizer to organizer, one key question is that everyone is asking. So online, offline, hybrid, probably most used word by the organizer. What form will Vienna Up take place?
Yes, we wanted to welcome you all in Vienna, but unfortunately, this is not possible. So it's a digital version. So the positive thing is it doesn't matter where you are, you can join in.
Great. Thank you very much again for supporting Podim and being our partner. We'll definitely see you in the near future, and good luck with your festival. Now, let's go to Dan Jovic, our moderator from the Brutkasten, who is also in Vienna. Dan, hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you, thank you. Welcome from Vienna. I will obviously be very diligent participant of Vienna Up 21st. It's going to be very exciting event, and I hope to see you virtually as many as possible.
All right, so I think we all can't wait for the discussion to begin. So only one thing left before we begin. So let's see a short video why Podim attendees think you should also attend Podim conference. So thank you all again, and looking forward for the discussion later. See you.
It's my first day at Podim, and my first impression is wow.
For me, one of the best conferences in Europe.
It's one of the best organized conferences I've ever experienced.
It's incredible how well it's organized and how professional this conference is.
This was the best networking day since last Podim.
1,000 people is really the perfect number.
There's connections that are made nowhere else.
I don't think that connecting anywhere else is at the same level as here.
Deal room format is really good.
It's a very useful event for everyone who wants to invest. So some of the startups are really amazing, and I think they have a great potential.
A lot of really good companies thinking big.
We have found some partners. The goal has been reached.
Podim can be a gateway to much larger opportunities.
And that's why we come back every year.
Well, warm welcome from my side as well, and welcome to our podium discussion at Podim satellite event. We have an exciting panel tonight, female only, with my exception, obviously. And I'm very, very happy to have you here. Gabrielle was already introduced. Now I'd like to proceed with Tanya Sternbauer. Tanya is a co-founder of Female Factor. Tanya, welcome.
Hi.
And we have Matija Nakic with us, founder and CEO of Farseer, the last year Podim winner. Hello, Matija.
Hi, Dan. Hi, everyone.
Matija, maybe I'll start with you. Can you just pitch us first, Farseer, or did I pronounce it correctly, actually?
Farseer, yeah, you've said it right.
What do you guys do?
Farseer helps companies of all sizes to see the future of their finance. You can imagine it as a very robust multi-user spreadsheet that can connect to various data sources and then use predictive models to help you find out how your P&L will look like, how a certain product sale will look like, and in general, all relevant KPIs for your company. So we're solving a 30-year-old problem of rigid BI and ERP systems and the whole universe of chaotic spreadsheets that became as a result of that hard systems. So we're sort of chewing all of that up and giving the business users the picture of their business.
And you won last year's Podim, is that right?
Yes.
What happened since?
A lot of things. So when we won Podim, we were still working on our jobs and working part-time on Farseer. I was actually on maternity leave, so that was also crazy. And I also said in the interview, we believed in us so much that we actually, after they proclaimed us as winner, we went to check what does the winner get as a prize. So it was really a big surprise for us. And after that, we got funded. And we actually got, at the same time with the funding, sort of in parallel, a few bigger clients here in Croatia. The team grew, the product is growing, and now we're even going outside of Croatia.
Okay, can you give us some insights on the funding? Did it happen in Croatia? Was it international capital?
It's in Croatia, and it's angel funding, so it is really smart money in every possible sense.
Maybe give us some insights on the investment scene in Croatia. You have enough capital there? You have enough of angel funding? You have enough of venture capital funding? What's the situation for startups in Croatia?
Well, it's in general in the region, it's relatively hard to get funded. There are a few VCs, and you have, a certain stage where you can do it, and if you don't do it at the right time, you kind of lose the momentum. So for us, we were not at the stage where we could apply for some startup competition now in fall and say, give us, 50,000 euros for 8% of the company, because we didn't feel like it was right for us. But we are also not the size of the company that could apply for really bigger funding, because we're still searching for that product market fit click. So there are workarounds, and we have found one, but it's not easy to get money anywhere in the world, especially today. It's getting more difficult with all this crisis.
Gabi, thinking of the whole region, and Vienna Business Agency is strongly involved in the CE region as well. Is this a case where you guys can help? Is for example, cooperating with Austrian ecosystem a way to the investment? Do you see any CE startups, so to say, entering Austrian markets also because the investment situation is much better, for example?
Yes, we know that because we also have this Vienna Startup Package, which is a global competition where we invite international startups, and when they come, and some of them, what we saw is one is market entry Europe for the international ones, but the other thing is really that with the grant structure we have here in Austria, the product development can be funded through public money, and this is also very attractive for international startups. So if there is already a product, but you need to improve the product, for example, also with researchers together, then the funding structure is quite well, and it's up to 50% of the project amount you can get funding. And we know that several international startups, moved here in order to really do this further product development through because of the grant system we have here. But it doesn't mean that they totally came here. It's, everybody's looking for the best opportunity for specific parts of its company. And I saw that this worked out for some very well.
Okay. Is it necessary to move your seat to Austria and Vienna, or do you need a subsidiary to be eligible to this?
You can apply without a subsidiary, but as soon, because it's a competition, we cannot give the grant to every company. But if you get it, you have to realize the project here in Vienna, and for that you need a subsidiary. But the headquarter, there is no need for the headquarter here.
Okay. Tanya, I didn't know, and it says here on my briefing, awarded female role model in Europe, named as one of the 100 most influential businesswomen in Austria, won Startup Hero Award, etc., etc. I mean, the same question to you as
But didn't you know about this? Like Broadcasten was always covering that. So how can you not know?
Because for me, you're always one of the pioneers of our ecosystem in general. So, but
Thank you.
These are some add-ons and specifics. And maybe the same question for you, since we're talking about the mindset and the entrepreneurial spirit tonight. What drives you? What is the, so to say, intrinsic motivation behind that?
Well, I was nodding when Gabi did her introduction because that's also driving me. I mean, with the Female Factor, we really wanted to create something that has an impact on our society, and starting this with individuals, but going on company level and then further and having an impact on literally everything we do. And what I believe in when I actually was active in the startup scene in Austria a lot and in Europe in general is that I really, I saw how women perceive themselves. I saw how much effort they put in actually, shipping their products and getting out there, but how much confidence they had they actually had not in themselves. And that's something that we wanted to get started in. And I really wanted to take women by the hand and tell them, you can do literally anything you want. And that's something that drove us from the very beginning when we started the Female Factor. And for us, the big mission is, so to say, to close the global leadership gap. Because I really believe when there is more women in decision-making positions, first of all, we have 50% of women in the world. So it's good if there is more women in these decision-making positions to actually represent us accordingly. But I also believe that it's better for the whole society. And that's what drives me. And that's what, we're doing on an everyday basis with individuals and companies around the world. So we're registered in Austria, but we are acting globally, especially since the pandemic.
Just tell us where are you calling from right now?
I'm now in Cyprus.
And 2 months ago, you were where?
In Tel Aviv.
This is the international setup of a Viennese startup.
Also 2 weeks ago in Greece, Yeah, also it's really cool. We have, our company right now has 25 nationalities. So we have maybe 10 people now in Vienna, but the rest is literally anywhere. And what's the cutest thing? Every single one of our team members somehow has a connection to Vienna. Either they studied there, or they wanted to move there at some point, or they originally were born there, or they have a loved one there. It's so beautiful that everything comes together, even though they're somewhere completely different now. It's really cool.
What exactly do you guys do? What's the product? Just give us some insights on that.
It's depending on who you ask. We have a B2C side and a B2B side. So in a sense, we're also a startup, even though we're not declaring ourselves as one. And on the B2C side, we're actually training the next generation of female leaders, meaning we are helping them with the different skills. That is on confidence, competence, and connections, meaning we're connecting them with people. We are training them to actually be more confident and to learn how to sell themselves, so to say, and negotiate. Things that women tend to lack a bit. And on the other side, we are working with companies such as Google, BCG, McDonald's, P&G, a lot of global ones that want to fulfill the diversity goals, that actually understood that diversity is the way to go, that they understood that it's actually important for the employer brand, and that the next generation of leaders, millennials that we are now, actually really care about diversity, equal opportunities, and the right mission in a company and the right values. And these are the companies we are supporting to actually attracting and retaining those talents.
Was Corona a setback for the topic of female leadership? Many people told me, we went back into the old kind of thinking, women who took care of children at home, did homeschooling, and so on and so forth. Do you have any data or information or insights on that?
Yeah, we did actually a survey in the beginning of the pandemic when we all didn't know what to do and how to react towards it. And it was actually a twofold word. Obviously, most of the women got all the work, that they actually took care of the kids and did way more work at home. However, we have a lot of go-getters in our community, right? It's the next generation of leaders. And most of them that have the circumstances at home, they actually said they made the most out of it. So they really did help them to actually combine both things even better. However, it was always connected if they have the right support network. So only if you have a partner, parents or money to actually pay someone, then it worked. Otherwise, it was really hard, obviously, for women. And in general, also for on company perspective, we actually thought in the beginning of the pandemic, and we saw the hit, we were really our revenue on both sides was zero in the first months because everyone was on hold and was thinking of, okay, what's next, right? And then actually picked up again. And we were really scared that diversity is not a goal and a focus point anymore. But it's so beautiful to see it still is, and it actually got even more. And I mean, I don't know if you know, but there's in Germany, they just passed a law that there is now a quota in board seats that you need to have women there. in the boards, and that actually had a wave also on the companies we're working with, and they realized that they need to do something and they will act now. And for us, it was really beautiful to see that a lot of companies, despite the pandemic, despite some hits on their revenue, they still focus on diversity.
Great. Mattia, you mentioned, if I understood correctly, that you were in maternity leave during Corona, plus there was the dynamic of Corona. How did you cope with that? What kind of effect did it have on your business?
It was the craziest year of my life. Of course, everybody's life. But when you add your first child to it, because Liam is my first child, and then starting up a startup, it's
and you did an investment round as well.
Yes. So it was crazy, but it was also an opportunity to grow in every possible way and stretch yourself in ways that you didn't think were possible. So I think you sort of start reaching these superhuman levels at a certain point where you're not sleeping and you're just used to not sleeping. So you're working and functioning like Tony Stark, regardless. Okay, you crash, on a Friday night, you crash, but
I honestly think that only women can do that, to be honest. I don't think men can do that, really.
Yeah, I don't believe in that. That's a nice little trick that you guys have. Like, oh yeah, wow, honey, you can multitask. I can be on the sun and have a cocktail at the same time. I'm really good at it.
No, I didn't mean as much the multitasking, but this kind of just going on and on and on without sleep. I admire my wife, women that I know, for this strength, like you say. Some kind. Like we talked about Elon Musk being from a different planet, but I think somehow women are from a different planet in this meaning. In the terms of superpowers. Anyway,
we're tough cookies.
You're tough cookies. Just give us some insights on the business side of your startup. Did you have any boost during Corona, or like Gabriele said, Vienna is a good environment to build your product because there's a lot of funding, also public funding from that. Did you use time to boost your product, to improve, to, let's say, put some milestones ahead of their times?
Well, Corona, we took advantage of the first lockdown to really be more introspective and work on the product and sort of figuring out what exact problems are we solving. So we closed in a little bit, of course, as everybody did, but I think it was even useful in a way. And then when things started opening, we were like running around and couldn't wait to talk to people. So we started doing, 2-3 demos per day. And that was amazing. And people wanted to talk to other people in any means possible, even through a call and especially live. So that was also good. And for us as a product, it's even useful, I would say, even though there's no parallel universe in which Farseer started in a non-pandemic world. So I don't know. But I have a feeling that it was okay for us because a lot of companies started becoming more conscious about running their finances and their cash flow in particular. So before it was like, I think it's okay. We have some money in the bank, we will find a way. And now it really became important to plan, to forecast, to keep track of every single cost and to try to raise your revenue as much as possible just to survive, let alone thrive. So I think companies are also becoming more informed and smarter about their finances after all of this. So it will change the world in so many ways.
Gabi, many people, or let's say everybody, loves coming to Vienna. Vienna has been, I think, the past 10 years, every year, selected the most livable city in the world. So it was one of the strong assets to attract companies, to attract startups. What does Corona mean for the startup ecosystem, international startup ecosystem in Vienna? Do you see any difficulty, so to say, because people cannot travel as the time being? Or can we attract them anyway in our virtual means of communication?
No, we can attract them anyway, but we know from our startup package the winners will come also to the Vienna Up 21, and they would prefer to come here. And we have a digital version had already last year, and this year we will do it digital as well, and it works quite well. And the people still are very interested to come here due to different reasons, but they would prefer to come because, especially when it comes to networking and really, finding a first pilot client, there is something missing sometimes if it's just a digital version. So many parts work very well, but others are really harder. And what we also see is really that the flexibility is getting much bigger. We know from Silicon Valley also in the past it was quite expensive to live there, and if you can work remotely, maybe there is no need so much anymore to stick there. And we see it from different countries that also UK and Brexit, the startups from this region are also very interested now to get more information about what's going on in Vienna and how does it work here. So I think it's a chance as well.
And your support programs and grants and everything there moving on, has any of that been stopped, or are you proceeding with all the programs?
No, we proceed with everything, and we doubled our grants over the last year because we really try also to react to the crisis. It's not the basic, that companies can survive. This is the national level doing. But what we are doing is really to use the potential within the companies and try to find new solutions in order to overcome the crisis better. And we give grants also to switch your business model because now the market is made a bit different. So we always support the things now concerning COVID, where companies really innovate in order to bring new solutions to better overcome the crisis or to pivot their business model in a way so that they have a future maybe in the next 2-3 months.
Okay, we spoke to some American investors and startups who went, for example, to open their second subsidiary in America, and they mentioned something like, which I found very interesting. They said the investors from America find it extremely interesting to invest, meanwhile, in European or CEE startups. The guy was from Romania, because they have their dev teams there, which are much cheaper than in America. And then they just develop or let's say hire some salespeople in America. So
and the talents are much more affordable.
And the talents are much more affordable. So do you see any trend for CE startups having big competitive advantage to, for example, international, because the talent is cheaper, but they can still go to US and hire the sales staff there?
Yes, the trend is there, but still Europe is a very, very complex construction, and one has to understand how it works here. But if he understands, or she, then they see really the benefit for them. And we know from several investors from the US looking very eagerly what's going on here in Europe, especially also CE, because they know we have a very well-educated talent pool. And we have a high quality to live here, and it's affordable. So costs of living are very affordable here, and this is really a big advantage we have.
Okay. Since we have three founders, 3 women, 3 leaders, three leaders, female leaders in our call. Tanya, you mentioned that in Germany there is a new quota regulation for women in the boards, I guess, in the big companies or public listed companies. How can we reach this quota in the startup ecosystem? We have everybody I know is somehow aware of the topic, is also in awe or in favor of changing some things, but we still don't reach more than, let's say, 15-20% of participation of female founders or leaders in the startup ecosystem. Do you have any advice for us how to move on, how to increase this quota there?
So many. No, but I mean, there was a study now from Startup Blink, I think, the Startup Map, that actually showcased beautifully how Vienna is doing well in showcasing actually startup-related events for women, and that there might be a correlation between female startup founders and events. And what is actually a fact is that role models make a difference. So we really also at the Female Factor and in everything what I do and what Gavi stands for is mentoring and showing that it is that how it's done, and that there is actually someone that went through that path already and can show you and show you the shortcuts. So mentoring is definitely something, and also then like directing it directly to you, to Podim, and also to you, Dejan, as a media company, as an event organizer, really pledge that you are trying to achieve 50-50. It's like, it's just very like disencouraging if you see a newsletter like lives that are just man dominated. Like as the next generation of founders, and if I'm a woman and if I'm seeing only white guys, I won't see, that could be me one time. No, of course not. And what we picture now in media and on events is like all this, like, how much did you raise? Also, that was the entry question you asked. You did not ask how big is your team, how empowered does your team feel, how much do they love to work for you? You know, what is actually the impact that you're having? No, we're asking also the wrong question. We're picturing the wrong stats, and we never ask what is actually done, what has been done with the money that was actually raised. No one is asking, did you make money after that? Did you get to product market fit? Are you actually having customers that are paying you for this product now? We always hype this typical stereotypical, like man-dominated thing. Like it's about money, it's about fame, it's about status. And it's never about what really matters in building a business, sustainable and happy team members and customers that are paying for them eventually, right? So yes, there is a responsibility in terms of event organizers and media representatives to actually picture the right things, I feel. And on an individual basis, like what every guy, for example, can do, if you're invited to a panel, again, it's about showcasing, and there is not 50-50 representation, then don't take the seat. Ask the organizer to actually also picture, invite more women. If you write about anyone, make sure that there's also women placed there. We need to give women more chances because we tend to not scream that loud. So that's very easy. And then if you're a man, like really, there's like so easy, just mentor women. Like Dejan, also for you. I mean, you should become a mentor with us, by the way. You've been before, but you should again. And then just, give the opportunities, the networks, the chances, and the confidence to the next generation of women that they can do that too. That really helped me. Like years ago when I was 20, I did not think that I would become a founder at some point. I really did not believe in myself until someone came and actually showed me what I am capable of. And sometimes you need that. And it is especially in terms of guys that need to do that too. I mean, I really benefited a lot from male networks that I was part of. So that's just some parts. I can go on and on, but I spare you that.
Well, very good points. I will take some for me personally as well. Last time I refused to take part on one panel, which was male only, not 50-50. But I guess next step would be to say 50-50. You're right.
It's possible. Listen, I mean, we are hosting now our conference, a Limitless conference on May 5th. And we're like, we need more guys. We have so many amazing women on there. And it's like, it's kind of, we don't want to have a female only, thing. We also want to have guys. So we just wanted to showcase it's possible. We find experts and really cool people that are women. So there is no excuse to say, I didn't find, they didn't want to speak. Of course they want to speak, but you need to make the surrounding happen for them. They need to they feel comfortable to actually speak.
There's a cool startup that we wrote about 2 weeks ago who has the public database for female speakers. So there's no excuses that you can't find them because it's there.
May I add something? Because we have this Vienna startup package, and we did a global competition and we had applicants, many. And then in the final list, 90% were male founded. And then we said, okay, we don't give the quota officially, but we have an informal quota, and minimum 30% of the startups have to be with female founders. And I think it's just necessary to make 1 or 2 proactive steps and you get them. Now we have nearly 50% always female founders, and they are as good as the male ones. But we have to be aware that we have this unconscious bias in us, man and woman, that we believe if a man tells us, okay, I can do it, I didn't do it so far, but I can, we believe him, but we don't believe her if she tells us the same. And that's why I really believe we need this extra step, and we do that as well with our juries. For our grants, they get a workshop to be aware of their unconscious bias in order to reflect during evaluating the projects also in that way, and this is necessary. And I think also in the education we have a lot to do.
Matija, what is the situation on the subject matter in Croatia? I mean, this is the Austrian discussion that we are trying to intensify. Is the topic present in the CE region, particularly in Croatia, for example?
Well, what I can see with my bare eyes, there's no official statistics, but I would say it's 1 out of 10 founders is female. So the numbers are not great, and you can see it with bare eye. Like Gabriel said, if you walk into a founders conference or a product meetup or anything of that kind, you will see mostly male. Maybe now it's moving towards 1.5. So it's not great. And as the girl said, we need to work on so many levels of the society to move it up. But really the fast things that we can do are exactly the things that they have suggested. One little snowball can create an avalanche, and women do have to be represented in technology. Now it's more important than ever because the code is eating the world. We are run on code as a society. So it is extremely dangerous and stupid to not have 1/2 of the population participating completely on all levels of that creation.
Do you feel that you got enough support in Croatia from the ecosystem, or Croatia, or let's say broader on the Balkans? You have enough opportunities to ask for support?
Well, there is the EU funding, which is a benefit that I guess we have here and a lot of countries in the world don't have. So we got 75,000 euros of EU funding for innovative technical concept. And that was really a great push for us. And for the rest, you don't count on much. As I wrote in one post, we don't count on government for anything, and our expectations are always met. So you live your life, you fight for yourself, you talk to the clients, you try to hire the best talent and get funding, and you're juggling all of that. And you're not even expecting help. I don't know if that's normal, but the only thing that we're asking is that we don't get crushed by some ridiculous, inspection or something stupid like that. And that has been known to happen. So we just want to be left alone. It's sad, but it's true.
And are you going to pursue your company in Croatia? I'm just trying to understand how entrepreneurs in the CE region, so to say, think, or do you want to move your seat, I don't know, to Europe, to some of the European countries, to move on from there?
If you want to scale on European level or even on a global level, you have to move somewhere, because for serious funding, you need to go further from here. Serious money lives elsewhere. Mm-hmm. The other thing is we have 19th century law. So here you cannot solve equity or shares for your employees. It's virtually impossible. So you need to go to the UK or to the Netherlands and form a branch to be able to motivate the people that are working with you. And those are just some of the things, In the UK, you have several levels of tax reliefs for investors, which in end is benefiting of obviously the startups as well and the whole ecosystem. And they're basically investing money almost risk-free. And here it's, very poorly regulated, and people even don't know how to approach these things and how to solve them in a really basic contractual way. Mm-hmm. So I think we're really, really behind in a lot of...
Does the startup and entrepreneurship topic have attention in your government? In Austria, for example, since, 2-3 legislative periods, the attention has been quite strong. Not as much has been done as the attention, but the attention has been there. Is it, so to say, in your government, the topic of digitalization and startups present?
Well, there are no real systematic changes yet. There's all this patting on the shoulder of Infobip and Rimac, and everybody is applauding them and liking on LinkedIn, but all the government officials are taking pictures when they can with those people. But nothing is changing systematically, not even in a small little things. In the end of the day, we're not expecting great tax reliefs or anything like that. I want my country to prosper. I want to pay tax. I want people to have free college education. In the end, as did I, and that made me come to where I am. But you can, do some things that can really help us, and they are not, big. It doesn't take years to change those things. So yeah, I guess we need to work on the consciousness as well.
Gabi has been nodding a lot to what you were saying. What's your take on that?
No, I totally agree. And also we in Austria still have things to improve a lot. But this is also what I learned, that in Austria, really people can take the support from the government because it's there. If I look at the services we are having free of cost for company founders, we have different lab structures, etc., and the grants. And this is a huge difference to many CE countries that I see that even as you, Matja, just said, we are even not looking for government to help us because we know there is nothing, but this is different here. So, and we also, for example, because we have also a very international community here in Vienna, we also give our services in 17 different languages, because it's not just the language, it's also the cultural translation that is very important. And we really try to every new Viennese to really bring the potential he or she has out of the person. And when it comes to entrepreneurship and founding a company, we try our best to give them all the information and help they need in order to succeed. And if it comes that they decide, okay, it doesn't work for me in that way, it's fine as well. But we want to give a good decision basis.
Tanya, I wrote down before, but I forgot to ask you. You mentioned a couple of times the Limitless conference, or Gabi also mentioned it. What is it about?
It's about getting more women a seat at the table, and it's one of it's our biggest conference we ever did. It's about 1,500 participants, but it will be streamed around 3,000 locations worldwide, reaching around 50,000 people. So it will be huge. We're streaming from 5 offline locations in Singapore, Dubai, Vienna, obviously, New York City, and Bermuda. Wow. And we have over 50 speakers with really, really, really cool people. One of it is Dan Stephanie Shirley. She is like a pioneer, IT pioneer with like the best TED Talk ever. So it will be really, really cool. And it's about us actually taking the thing global. We really wanted to pick the brains of female leaders all over the world and see, what was their journey, what can the next generation learn from them, and what are the differences, but what's also the commonalities, and just create the network that helped me and my co-founder when we started, and bring that global. Because again, now we see that we are closer than ever, and I think this is a major advantage. And I love to promote Vienna out of this, and being part of Vienna Up is just like a really cool opportunity for us and to present also the region. And I really believe in everything that Vienna Business Agency is especially doing. I think we wouldn't be there anymore as a startup if it wouldn't be about the funding we received back then from Vienna Business Agency when COVID hit. So thanks to that, actually, we were able to carry on, even though, like, as I said, all the revenue stopped for a while. And I love what Vienna is actually offering for so many entrepreneurs. And also on an international level, I think Vienna is beautiful, and I love that we can promote it on such a global scale, and to have it named next to New York, Singapore, Dubai, and Bermuda. I mean, that's pretty dope. I need to say that.
Vienna is awesome, but if you need a moderator, I would choose Bermuda to help you there. Yeah,
it's fine. We can fly you in if it wouldn't be around COVID, right?
Yeah.
I'll note it.
Gabi, anything to add? I mean, I have a statistic in my head that many startups were active, both taking the regular grants as well as the Corona-specific grants in the past 12 months. I think you were able to support quite a lot of them on the broad range.
Yeah, that's right. Because we got extra money in order to do so, and the companies took it very intensively. So we had a lot to do over the last year.
What is the feedback from the founders? How is the atmosphere? Are they confident? What is the general state of mind?
It really depends on the branch. So all the technology-oriented startups are doing quite well. Even the investor scene tells me that the portfolio companies are doing really quite well. If you're dealing with travel and hospitality or other branches, it's quite hard. So it really depends in which branch, where you are, how you are hit. For many startups, it's really also a boost. And I think, I don't know the exact numbers, but as far as I know, so far the investments last year were quite well, also in Austria, in some. But we know that, several are really hit very hard, and we will see how they can deal with that. Some managed to pivot quite well, but others are still struggling, and it really also depends how long this will take us to overcome.
Tanya, are you... Yeah,
maybe in addition, because also concerning talking about female startups, I think we should also talk about zebras, because when you talk about zebras, it's much more female oriented, because here what matters is impact. And as far as I know, so many female founders as well, there is often impact is much more important than exit or money. They really want to do something which is good for the society and solves the problem. And maybe we should also look more in these statistics when we talk about startups.
Yeah, but to be fair to the other ones, unicorns also solve problems. It's just a different dynamic of the path that they take.
Yeah, no, it doesn't mean that I don't think that startups and unicorns are good, but there is the question is, what is your driver? Do you want to get your exit? It doesn't matter how and when, but you want your exit, or is your driver you want to make an impact? It differs a little bit. It's not good or bad, but I think we need both.
It's a different approach, huh? Tanya?
No, it's just the metrics that we should actually look at society as a whole. I mean, it's individual motivator that drives all of us, but it's, again, what you picture. Is it really the money? Is it what we raise that is important? Or is it how many people's lives we can actually change? And I think this is something that we need to change in the upcoming years, and where media plays a huge role to just change the narrative about what a successful entrepreneur is actually doing. I mean, for example, Refurbed, I love them, right? Startup Life alumni, they're great people. I know them personally, they're great. And they do it for the right reasons. They have a great business model. So they're refurbishing electronics. They give them a second life, which is great for society, for electronics, for like everything, economics. They also plant a tree every time they do something. Nevertheless, most headlines across everywhere they made with the money they raised, which was one of the biggest investment rounds in Austria, right? It's great. But look at the impact they're actually doing. Is that something that we cover? Not really. Yeah, they plant some trees. Cute. Nah, actually, we live off of trees because they do air and stuff, So, but no, we still brag about the money they're raising, So that's something we need to decide as a society, which is more interesting, actually, and has more impact on us. Is it money or is it the real impact it is creating?
Before, when you were talking about that, you said, we should ask, what do you do with money? So, Mattia, let me pass the question to you that Tanya was raising. You raised money last year. You got some funds as well from the European Union, you mentioned. What do you do with it? What's the impact that you're creating with your startup?
Well, we're hiring a very diverse team, and it's diverse in every possible sense. But we are an IT company, and we certainly take care of the balance of sexes, but we also like to hire people who are not necessarily from the IT branch. So we have a psychologist, a lawyer, a student that is graduated from architecture. So we really believe that different perspectives can make something spectacular and new and fresh. A lot of same people in the same room never results in something surprising and great, I would say, yeah.
Okay. I saw
sorry, just wanted to add something to the things that the girls were saying. And one VC asked me, what is your exit strategy? A few months ago, I mean, we were just beginning. I still don't have an answer to that, but I said, I answered in a very female way. I said, that's like asking a girl when she's walking down the aisle, did you sign your prenup contract yet? So you're breaking my romance. Don't ask me that. I'm really into this idea, into this team. I want to do something that matters, and who knows, I don't think in a exit kind of a way. So I guess it is a little bit of a female trait.
Okay. Great. Urban, I saw a couple of sort of pop-ups in the chat. Can you help me? Do you have any questions there in the chat that we could take? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I'll check the chat and I'll come back to you in a second, right? So give me a second and I'll check it out. Okay,
perfect. Then maybe let's close on the topic, or let's, so to say, open the closing topic, so to say, on the ecosystem. Gabi, you also are involved with CE startups quite a lot, and you talk to them, you try to support them, you try to inform them about the opportunities that they have in Vienna. What is your estimate? How is the region developing? Are they picking up, so to say, with the rest?
Yes. So I really see that a huge professionalization was going on in the scene, also in CE. There is a huge tech talent, so very good experts. They know what they are doing, and they have really the drive for it, and also the investment structure improved. Still, there's a long way to go, but this is for whole Europe, I would say. Maybe not for UK, but the rest of Europe. I think we really need to do something with the growth capital and venture capital we would need. But I really see that there are much more initiatives, much more co-working spaces, much more accelerator programs, and also corporates that are really looking at the regions because they see the huge potential. And in addition, from the Austrian side, it's really somehow this region is for us so familiar. This is friends and family somehow. I cannot explain it, but it's, the cultural attachment, the way we can talk with each other. It's very, there is kind of familiar feeling when I deal with people from the region, and I think it's vice versa. So I'm very optimistic. I think there's really, the people are hungry, the people want to change things, they have a good education, and they really use also the international opportunities to connect and get in touch with the right people. And I'm an optimist anyway.
Is it within a, let's call it, strategic reach of Vienna to strongly connect with the region as opposed to connecting to, I don't know, Germany, Switzerland?
Yes, for example, we are in several startup city networks. One is a global one with Shanghai, Dubai, New York, and so on, and the other one is a European one. But there is nearly no city from CE involved, and that's on what we are working now. Since more than 1 year, we really try to find out who are the right persons in the region in order to connect, because I deeply believe that we are not really in competition. We need to cooperate. We need to use the synergies between the cities. We have a huge potential in Europe, but we can only manage and use it if we work together. I know that there always will be competition as well, but on a more strategic level, I'm a deep believer that we have to work together in order to use the whole potential of Europe. And we need to really intensively also work together with our partners in the CE region.
Tanya, with your previous startup Live, you were quite active on the CE region. Have you seen development since? What is your take? Are you active with Female Factor in the CE markets?
Yes, we are. Actually, we also chose to go more into the CEE direction, not so much into Germany, even though it's a huge market for us and would be way easier, just because we see that there's more needed, right? And in Germany, we just said it, they passed a law already in terms of, more board seats for women. And that's not the case in the most of the CEE region. So I was in some of the focus groups that were really looking into also female entrepreneurship and that scale and what we can do, as Gabi mentioned, as together as a region to actually, lift each other up and have more female founders in the end and more female leaders. And that's definitely what's needed. And over the past years, I need to say, what stood out is, and that I think is the major disadvantage we still have on entrepreneurial level in general, not gender specific. Every single country we went into with Startup Life, everyone that pitched, they just thought about their own country, which is great because we need to have progress in their own country. But if an American thinks about their own country, it's a bit bigger. And that's what kind of makes the difference. That's why they go so big and we are not in Europe because we're thinking in, Austria, 8 million, cute, And now, because you mentioned that I lived in Israel, why it would be the same, 8 million people. What's the difference? Well, they don't have neighboring friends that can actually expand next, right? So they need to think bigger from day one because they know only Israel is not enough. So they actually directly think about, okay, is it China? Is it Europe, which is hard, so they don't really think about that? Or is it the US? Because for them, it really doesn't make a difference. And I think this is what sets us apart and what was always a bit of my thing when I went into talking to entrepreneurs to really spark this thinking big thing. It's great that you start with your own country to, it's your own circles, you know what you're doing, you know the region, you know the stakeholders most likely, but then the next step should really be thinking bigger. And that's what we lack a bit, especially in Austria. We are very comfortable there. And I love all the programs. I'm always advertising, obviously, not only Vienna Business Agency, also CHIN and a lot of other networks, Advantage Austria, that is really helping you to go in different regions. And for every entrepreneur out there, I can really highly, highly recommend to do any program that gets you out of the comfort zone of your own home and your own country. Because what made the difference for me, and I was always a bit globally oriented, but I never thought that big, was when I actually went with Advantage Austria together to Israel and I talked to founders there and I understood, hey, they have a different mindset. And a lot of people that went actually through the US and did the same and went to Silicon Valley, why did they come back thinking bigger? Because they talked to entrepreneurs and investors there. And it's just about the spark that we need to actually have in Europe too, that we think at least European. And obviously now legislation and governments need to do a lot to make this happen. We are not there yet, but it needs to start with the individual, because if we push it and if we want to think at least European, which can be our advantage, then we need to start with ourselves to actually drive change on that level.
Very important. Mattia, are you guys aware of, so to say, the fact that the whole world is looking at you, US investors, European investors, Austrian investors, ecosystems? Are you aware of the strength and the potential that you guys have in order to grow internationally, or do you rather focus on your local markets?
No, it's from day one, we want to create something that can scale globally, and we're really committed to that. But the crazy thing is that you have to constantly zoom in and out in your daily work. So you're thinking of the strategy and how we can make this seamless and somebody in Singapore can use it. And then you zoom into the specific problem on a specific project here in Zagreb with this client that you have at the moment. So you're constantly doing that, right? So it's a crazy mental exercise. Speaking of crazy this whole night. Yeah. Okay. But we are aware of it. And we're also aware of the stage that we are at. So we don't want to bite too big of a apple at this point. I always say it's like a video game with 100 levels, and on every level you can get killed 100 times. So
that's a good one, huh?
You need to be brave but cautious at the same time. It's crazy, all these things that are happening in your head when you found a startup.
Well, if you take the example of 100 levels, which level are you at right now? What would you say?
I don't know, 8 out of 100 probably.
Okay, well, you passed 800, so to say, possibilities to get killed. So we keep our fingers crossed for you guys to reach the 100, huh?
Thanks.
We have some questions. Thank you, Matej, Urban, sorry for helping me. Luca is asking, hello, how do you see the role of the regional institutions as the de-risking factors for private investors into startups? Maybe Gabi, on you.
In a certain way, we do that with our grants. We also don't have attractive tax incentives for the investors, but we know that many startups, with the grants we give, and as we can finance 50% of the project cost, this is also very attractive for the investors. So this is the way how we do it.
Okay, great. Tatiana is asking, how would you compare the benefits of your startup hub to A, the IT zone in Georgia, B, the non-DOM program in Cyprus? Does anybody have any insights? Tanya is laughing. Can you compare it?
Well, now that I'm in Cyprus, I actually researched a bit. I think what... Again, now coming back to Vienna, obviously, because it's also my home and I love Vienna. I think what it really, and also what I miss here in Cyprus, I mean, I hope there's no Cypriots now that were judging me, but it's definitely the community that is missing. I love Vienna for everything it does for the entrepreneurs. It's like such a great community with one call to, for example, Gabi, you literally have the world. She's invited, if you know the right people, and it's easy to get to know the right people, that's important too. And everyone is approachable. And then you can just literally reach out and talk to anyone that is important to you. So that's great. And that's what makes it unique. And then you have the support system on so many different levels, which is just amazing to have. And now I'm looking at Cyprus. Honestly, most of the companies are any Forex trading companies. Do I want to be affiliated with them? Not really. Does anyone know? Is it a community? Of course not. So it doesn't feel home. It doesn't feel like, I could really, find people here that I want to actually be friends with. And this is what a community is and what Vienna is to me, for example. And also what Israel is, because it's the same size community. And I think that's definitely something. And for Georgia, I've not been there, but one of my business partners is, and same thing. It's great if you have talent there, but it needs the mixture. And I think this is unique in Vienna specifically with tech talent, with business talent, with creatives, with culture. And that's what makes the community really thriving and interesting. And you want to spend their time there. And that's something that Cyprus, for example, except the beaches, cannot really offer. And also Georgia has different levels. I won't judge about Georgia, but yeah, I'm promoting Vienna here, obviously, but I'm a little biased. So.
Okay. Anything to add? No, then we move on to Jakob. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we have been founding about 50% of companies for female founders. Maybe a coincidence, but it seems to be a trend. Wow. Tanya, your comment on that? 50% of the new companies that Jakob was supporting in their founding time were female. Does
it mean that more women businesses needed support or got started?
Do we have Jakob in call? Can he join us?
He's there, yes.
Yeah. Dear Podim directors, if you're able to help us to get Jakob into our call, please do. But we have your audio, Jakob. So just explain what is the statistic.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so no, of course, it doesn't mean that female founders needed more support. It was just, from my point of view, it was just a coincidence. Nearly the same amount of female founders contacted us to just found their company than male founders did. The questions were the same. The help that we gave them was the same. So it was just, probably it really was a coincidence. Because normally we are meeting the founders that we're helping at conferences, at business events, at some startup events. But at the moment, that's not possible, as we all know why. So it's more or less online and word by mouth. So it really might have been just coincidence, but that was our feeling.
But that's something for Gabi then, if there's more female-led startups or businesses now that have been founded during COVID or not.
And we know from the numbers last year for Austria, the numbers of company founders didn't decrease so much. It's only 6% less than the year before, which is really amazing that even due to the crisis, people started their company.
Or because of.
Or because of, but we have to look at the data, but I would guess that it will be not so much different to the years before.
Okay. Great. Jakob, thank you. And thank you to our directors behind these calls. This was very, very good move. And you did excellent job on bringing Jakob on stage, not only with his audio, also with his video. Thank you, guys. There's one more question. Silsila is saying, I'm also in startup of my business, but really it is so difficult to find financial support so that I can make my business work faster because of financial problem, business going so slow. So can somebody share with me some link for finance? That's a rather tough one to answer. Tanya?
To get finance?
Yeah, it probably depends which country and which product and so on and so forth. Huh?
Yes, and it's always about starting with like research. I mean, if you don't know what's out there, you most likely won't find it. So research first and ask people and build a network. And my personal opinion, build a network of investors and potential people that can help you before you need to raise.
There's a lot of materials on the internet on financing. It's rather difficult to just say we need financing.
Bulgaria. Yes. So Bulgaria has also with Founder Institute a great starting point to actually get into the startup system. And there are so many co-working spaces there that really help. And you can check out also the Female Factor. We have some mentors in Bulgaria that are in the scene. So for all female founders that can help, like mentors and people that guide you through that. Always
Excellent.
like tap into the local ecosystem.
Contact me because we have a colleague. She's from Bulgaria and she knows the scene very well. So
fantastic.
Get in touch.
Fantastic. So maybe I can ask the Podim guys and girls to just connect Gabi with Silsila, maybe just to give her some advice on how to start. And yes, connect with the local community. That's the best way to get fast information. They're usually very open to help, like Tanya mentioned, not only in Vienna. It's some kind of mindset and spirit across the globe to help each other in the founders community. And they will probably give you a hint where you can find local funding. Okay, I think we, as far as I can see, don't have any further questions. This was a very interesting discussion. I loved it. Thank you very much, Gabi. Thank you very much, Matja. Thank you very much, Tanya and Urban. Do we have any closing information from your side to announce maybe the next round and to have some updates on the upcoming Podim Festival?
Yeah, so it was a really great discussion. I enjoyed really much. And of course, there's a lot of interesting things coming up for the upcoming festival. But of course, we will reveal it in the upcoming days and weeks. And there's another super interesting satellite event coming in 14 days. So stay tuned, read our emails, like us on Facebook and LinkedIn, and looking forward to meet you all in Podim DX.
Thank you for taking time. Thank you for your questions, Tanya, Gabi, and Matja. Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.